Good morning. This is Samit from TalksOnGround. How are you? Uh, this is Saturday morning, the 19th of July, 2025. It's important to note the date and time because geopolitical situations are changing so fast that if I was recording this in the evening, maybe the facts would have changed on the ground. But the facts on the ground as of now, as of today, are that NATO is now threatening, along with the Americans, sanctions on India. Now, this is a very interesting development, and I thought we should discuss this. And basically, the NATO is a defense arrangement between Europeans and Americans. The Americans run this while the Europeans take benefit out of it. But at the same time, it is very interesting that this has come from NATO and not really from EU directly, though EU has taken an action thereafter. So, we're going to discuss the implications, the causes, and also what could transpire later and what could be the going ons behind the scenes. As you might be aware, in open source, public um, people in general, people like me who are not in the government, who are not really um, getting any insider information, we have to rely on publicly, uh, openly available information, and we have to make our own judgment calls based on that. And typically, 85 to 95% of the time, we do get the direction right. Uh, this is not just NATO, but US has threatened sanctions over Russian oil. And before we go deeper into this issue, I must take a step back and tell you that, when Trump came to power, he was boasting that he will, stop the Russia-Ukraine conflict in just like couple of days or whatever. But it's been 6 months and the fighting's still going on. Russia has captured more territory, and some of that territory is basically territory that has some critical minerals, a deal that Trump really wanted with Zelensky, for which that poor fellow was insulted right, left, and center. I am no fan of Zelensky, I must tell you, but doing that in the White House in that way was left a bad taste in the mouth. So even MAGA supporters would have like cringed at watching that. But that's not the only one. The similar thing happened with the South African president and so on. Anyhow, we can go beyond uh, the visuals, so to say. Uh, what is more important is that why is America or NATO doing this? Is it US driven or is it EU driven? Why target India specifically? Because the Chinese, while they are mentioned in this, is not the real target. Neither is Brazil. So India, Brazil, I mean BRICS has been mentioned. Uh, it's probably a retaliation for what the BRICS has come out with, which has really shaken the Western governments to the core, because the BRICS is saying basically that we will de-dollarize, we will start trading with each other, we will not take orders from you anymore. We'll replace IMF, we'll replace World Bank. So they're talking about a new global order. Remember, the guns hold the order in place, but the order is really the currency and the financial system and the trading system. That is what holds or is the core of the international order. So it's a very interesting challenge for Trump and the West. And their first target is really India, because India is sitting right in the middle of this BRICS and NATO or EU US fight, or some sort of a Cold War, if I may. Now, remember, there was a lot of talk about Indo US deal. There have been many deals that Trump has done, but let's go through them one by one. Now, NATO is basically saying that we are going to sanction any anyone who is having Russian ties, you are basically filling Putin's coffers and so on. What did India say? India said that you shouldn't have double standards, and we are very confident of alternative oil sources, and go ahead and do whatever you want. Um and India, in the subsequent days leading up to this, has also had Jaishankar in attending the SEO meeting in Shanghai, and he was also there was some hint of reviving the RIC trilateral, which is Russia, India, China. Now, anything which is RIC, IR, ICR, or CIR, whatever, however you group this, is scary for the West. Really scary, because imagine India, Russia, and China coming together. Not only do they form a continuous landmass, they will hold a huge chunk of the population, manufacturing prowess, services prowess, and military prowess. So basically, this will be the end of Western hegemony if this was to come through. Of course, there are relationship issues between India and China, and some hidden issues between Russia and China. So it's not going to happen right now for sure, but still, it has shaken some people in the West. Just the thought that this can happen. Let's see what people are saying. So I'm going to show you one tweet by a very respected Kaval Sibbal, who was a Indian Foreign Secretary earlier. He has been ambassador to Turkey, Egypt, France, and Russia. So let's see what he's saying. So there's a sanction that EU has put on Rosneft, which is India's second largest refiner, because it takes Russian oil and then refines it and then sells it to Europeans and Americans. So interesting. Uh, so it's a retrograde step. It's hypocrisy, blah blah blah. So EU is themselves buying a lot of products from India. Um, for certain exporters, Europe stands out as a key market. November 2024, which is just about 8 months back, India exported 400 barrels per day of refined crudes to Europe. That's not a small number. Importing countries were Netherlands, UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, and France, pretty much the key countries. So there is something happening in Brussels where they have now become a little willing to go against India, and one wonders what is at play there. In my opinion, what is at play is really a very, very bare knuckles Indo-US trade deal negotiations, or negotiations per se, not just for the trade deal. This is like two parties jostling for space, and you can see some other things that have happened. So, for instance, there is a yesterday US banned TRF, the Resistance Front, which perpetrated the Pahalgam terror attack, which is linked to LET and Lashkar-e-Toiba, and Pakistan has thrown a fit. Now, this is contrary to what Trump has been saying. I mean, of course, he hasn't made a direct reference to Pahalgam, but he's been kind of siding with Pakistan, rehyphenating India and Pakistan, kind of telling India to back off without saying it in as many words. So he's been linking the trade deal with the ceasefire. So this is very interesting that during this negotiation, it seems that the Americans have backed off a little bit and banned TRF. So are they walking back from Pakistan, or are they using this as a leverage against Pakistan, and a sop to India, or a carrot? Who knows? Then there is more. As I said, there was this warming up by India to RIC, which is very interesting. And there is one more thing. The F-35 is still stuck in India. It has not been taken out, and it's been repaired by I don't know, by British engineers with the help of Indian engineers. I wonder if they're happy with Indian engineers getting anywhere close to this plane. and Trump can say goodbye to his plans of selling this to India. So it's all happening, and it's a bit of a mix of things, but you cannot ignore any of these items. Now, there is another piece of news, which is that the PMO, the Prime Minister's office in India, has kind of put his foot down, saying that we want better terms from the US. So while the negotiation is on, and try and get this some sort of a mini deal through by July 31st, but India is now saying, look, you have given a lot of jobs to Indonesia, 19% tariffs or whatever. Also want better terms than Indonesia, so lower than 19%. I will be very surprised if India agreed to anything, uh, more than 10%. Even 10% will raise eyebrows in India, but 10% is what I think they might be asking for. They might get 13, 14. So I don't know if there'll be a deal. Uh, there have been other moves. So there is a lot of to and fro, back and forth between the Indians and the Americans. The G404 engine, the second engine was delivered. This is going to power the Tejas Mark 1A variant of the Tejas fleet. India flies about 40 of them as of now, but they're really not 4.5 generation as such, because they don't have the kind of avionics and some of the sensors and the radars that, and even the weaponry that can compete. So Mark 1A is a key project for the Indian Air Force to kind of replace its aging fleet, but the production has been held up because of US and basically of GE not supplying the engines. So very interestingly, and I'm going to link this to the Air India crash as well, because that crash had General Electric engines, and Boeing was the manufacturer of the plane. And interestingly, both Boeing and GE have moved forward on some of their deliveries. So GE has delivered the uh, one of the engines, F404, just 3 days back, and Boeing is supposed to deliver three of the Apache helicopters, six of which are under order and haven't been delivered in the last 5 years. So something's moving really, really fast in the background. In all of this, I think we must understand that this pressure is really coming from Trump, because he's come in, he knows there's an election in 2026 November, the midterms. He needs to show something dramatic by, say, June 2026, if not earlier. He needs the economy up and running. He needs the inflation down. Now, that's a very tough rope or a tough ask, to keep the inflation down, to keep the dollar strong, and to get manufacturing back and keep the growth up. Now, these are all competing objectives. One wonders how he will manage, but I have a feeling that he will score on a couple of these with the kind of deals he's on, negotiations that are going on. They've also opened up this whole stable coin business on the back end to improve the yields on their 10-year treasury papers of the America, the Federal Reserve. So it's all possible, uh, and therefore India cannot sit back and not do a deal, because then Trump can hit back with major tariffs. And remember, exports and imports are very important component. Ultimately, somebody is getting a job because of it. And so, if exports were to drop to the US, then there will be some job losses. So, no government in the world will want any job losses. So that's why he's hit. Trump has chosen this, you know, main weapon in his armory, uh, to really arm twist uh, people all around the world. But this sanction, as far as the Russian oil goes, is really about uh, Putin not playing his part as far as Trump is concerned. He wanted uh, a ceasefire by now, but he's read what Trump is doing, and he's not playing to his roadmap, and he has captured some territory. And I think with Trump giving him 50 days, I think by 31st of August or so, Putin will say, okay, I'm ready to negotiate. Let's talk about the deal. This is what I think will happen. If it does not, then surely some sanctions will come India's way, uh, on paper on China as well. But I wonder if the West has the gumption to sanction China, especially if they can hold back supplies of critical minerals and so on. So very interesting times. As I said, things are changing every few hours. So we'll track this story very, very closely, and let's see what comes up soon. I'll be back with more. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and family. Subscribe to the channel and do press the like button. This was Samit from Talks on Ground. Bye bye from New Delhi. Bye bye.